All right. First and foremost, give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem HaKakodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and who is worthy to be counted for double honors. Peace and salutations to you brothers out there pushing this truth wholeheartedly and sincerely and for love of the gospel. It's the brother Gabari from the Indiana camp coming back at you again with another sit down. I'm gonna entitle this video. I'm gonna just basically take the brother's title. Young men playing video games is what's wrong with America. It's just a response to this. I was watching this. This is also, by the way, this is the brother Kaya. Uh, this is the brother Kaya's page. GMS faithful till death. All right, subscribe and be edified. All right, this is another brother within our camp of the Indianapolis camp. All right, so if you want to watch, go. I highly recommend you go watch the original video of this brother camp. Subscribe and put down edifying videos. But yeah, I have a response. This is basically my little 2 cents that I just want to add. The brother did a video on an article that he had pulled up where the so-called, the government is blaming video games, consistent amounts of video game hours being played, and saying young men aren't getting jobs. They're not out doing they're not out actually getting jobs. They're not out actually. They're basically mooching off the government, with healthcare, and all they're doing is sitting at home playing video games and just, effing off on their time, And the brother brought out some beautiful points. Actually, to be honest, before I even watched the video, I already kind of knew I wanted to do a response to this because I had some things I wanted to say about it. And I think around maybe 5 minutes into the video, I already started putting down scriptures and writing down like little scriptures I was just thinking of coming from the top of my mind. And, and the brother, he it's crazy because during maybe the 20-minute mark, the 15, 20-minute mark, he started hitting some of the points that I was going to make, so that just confirmed that we were in the same spirit, we were thinking the same thing, and he started hitting points on the points I was going to bring up. And one main point I was going to bring up is that Esau, he's being the devil that he is. He will put a situation in effect, and then he'll come and then he'll circle the block or spin the block and talk about this situation as if he wasn't the one who created that. All right, you're the one who made video games what they are today. Like the brother brought out, video games were actually pretty productive. They helped your hand-eye coordination. They they helped. They were slightly beneficial. And then you have certain older games that still this used today that really helps your cognitive thinking, as such as chess, Chinese checkers. There's other video games that helps your IQ, builds your brain. Not necessarily video games, but a game in a game in itself. Which where the word game goes back to I think it's a German word, but it means basically amusement or joy or joyful. So basically you're supposed to, when you're doing a game, you're supposed to basically feel joyful or for an amusement of it. As the brother also brought out in the video that it's supposed to release a type of dopamine in your brain. All right. And dopamine is basically your feel good chemical. All right. Dopamine is what your brain releases when you're doing something that feels really good. All right. As far as like sex, eating, sometimes even when you work out, when you're watching a good movie or a funny movie or whatever, or if you're doing anything that feels joyful, your brain releases a chemical called dopamine. All right. And in this world that we live in, Esau made it a complete hell to live in. So now people are basically addicted to that chemical, and where they're chasing that chemical, where they try to feel dopamine more than they actually feel reality. All right. And the reality is that the world that you live in is messed up. All right. The world that you live in is hell. It's hell on earth, So that's the reason why you're chasing after that dopamine. You're chasing after that chemical. That's why people out here are on drugs. People out here playing the video games for a long, excessive amount of hours, People are out here, just living, just living their life in complete pleasure because they're really trying to escape reality, you know. Now, in this video, per se, and I'm one person who plays video games. I would consider myself a gamer. I play video games, and one thing that I've noticed, playing games throughout my year is that Esau's made it actually more accessible and more easy to play video games because really, to be honest, it's a job actually now. You actually can get paid to play video games. Whether you're monetizing your videos, whether you upload the videos on YouTube or Steam or what's the Twitch or whatever, but it's now a job where young men are making thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars a year by playing video games. All right. And who was the one who orchestrated this? Who was the one who put this into place? It's Esau, the devil. He's the one who made, and matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and get straight in the scriptures, because the scriptures I got is showing forth that the reason why this is happening, the reason why, we got, people who rather stay at home and play and be on a game. And it's not just games. It's watching movies. It's just, just not growing up, so to speak. The reason why they're still in that childish, boyish state and not growing up is because you handicapped them. You handicapped them at a young age. So like I said, without further ado, we're gonna hop straight into it. The first one I got was Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 3. It says, Ecclesiastes chapter 12 verse 3. It says, "In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble," it says, "and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of a window be darkened." So it is basically showing you the state that America is going to be in, with the key point in this is the grinding cease. All right. And the grinders goes into working. Matter of fact, they have a saying in the world that says back to the old grind. All right. Which means basically you're back doing your same job. All right. And but it says the grinding is going to cease, which means cease is meaning to stop, which means, as the brother had brought out, man, the work is not always going to be plentiful. Work is actually scarce right now. It's actually hard to find a job where you're having your average Joe bystander making videos talking about people keep their jobs, don't quit and don't leave your jobs, because it's hard to find another job now, where people are leaving their jobs and it's taking months on end to find another one, So if you don't have another job lined up already, it's wise that you keep your job, man. And that's not just, by happen chance. That's just not something because the economy is down or it's always, it's going to pick back up when, no, it's like that. It's because we're all in the downfall of America. All right. And one of the prophecies of that happening is what? The jobs aren't always going to be plentiful. It's not going to always be, you quit one job and you get a job the next day. Now we live in the city of Indianapolis, where majority of the brothers are from Gary, Indiana, and Indianapolis was known for like having a plethora of jobs where like you can come and get a job and quit, the same. You can quit one job one day and get either a better job or get a equal paying job either that same day or the next day. All right. That's how plentiful jobs was in Indianapolis. And we've been here. Well, me personally, I've been here for going on 7 years now. And it was always like that. But I will say in the past 4 years, it's kind of been hard, where jobs now, they have, temp agency's always been around, but jobs now has you where they don't even really expect you to be around no more than probably 3 months, Now, probationary periods has also been around, but, people, people will see, certain people and will understand that, yeah, that person ain't gonna last too long, or yeah, this person, I wasn't expecting them to last no more than probably a week or two, where you go into orientation with 20 people and you look up and it'll be only you and probably 2 other people left, from orientation. I went to, it was one job I went to Amazon. All right. And I had about maybe 15 people in orientation. And around the time that I left, it dwindled down to like, I barely 2 or 3, where a couple people left that same day, where they didn't even, they left that same day. They didn't even make it past orientation, you know. So it's just showing you that, the grinding, the job market out here is not always going to be plentiful. It's gonna stop at a point, and they're not going to have no future. They're going to look out and they're going to be trying to look for a future and try to grasp a comeback, but it's not going to be that, They're not going to, it's they don't have no nothing to look forward to, So let me skip to this one and go ahead and go to chapter 10, verse 6, where it says, folly is set in great dignity. It says, and the rich sit in low place. See? So it says, what, man? Folly, which is foolishness and joyful. Let's look up the word folly right quick. Folly, silliness, it goes back to the word folly, or you can attribute the word fool with folly, so silliness, things that's not supposed to be taken serious. Another word for a game also is gesture or playful, So, no one really takes the game too serious. You're not supposed to take a game. It's supposed to be for your amusement. It's supposed to be something that's joyful, something that's playful, something like that, But that is set in great dignity where you have people, now killing. You can lose your life over a game, where you have people robbing, stealing, breaking into people's houses because they got the new system, or even like I brought up before, where you have people whole livelihoods are set up around based off around the game, where you can make money actually doing that, So because of that, you have people in a constant state of virtual reality where they don't even know, that's why you have in the gaming community, you have this term called touch grass, or go outside and touch grass, or basically mean you've been in the house or you've been, on the game so much you're out of touch with reality, and you don't know what it is to actually talk to a real person face to face. You don't know how to actually engage in a conversation. You don't know how to go out and you don't know life beyond that game, And like we said, man, and who do you have to blame for that? You have Esau. You have the so-called white man to blame for that. Because why? He's made it accessible. He's made it where you don't need to go out and venture off and go try new things or go do this. He's made where your life you can literally live your life on a fucking game all day. That's the type of world that he's created. That's the type of world that we live in, where people that's playing video games are making more money than doctors and lawyers and people who progress the economy. Where streamers, people who literally livelihoods are to play games for an extensive amount of hours, for 8, 9, 12, 13-hour, streams, where people can go and watch and donate money and do, and these streamers are making bank, are making $1,000, $2,000 in one sitting, But this is all set up from this man, like the brother had brought out in his video. So is the king, so is the people, So whatever the king deems was right, whatever the king deems was good, he's gonna set forth for his people to do, So the result of you coming in and saying that young men are playing too many video games and they're mooching off the government and they're doing all this and well, that's a product of your own doing. You set that in forth. You were the head, so guess what? You take responsibility for that. All right, you have nobody else to blame but yourself. First of all, you fucked up the world so much where people are looking for an outlet, and then the outlet that you give them, you now you make it where they can indulge in that, and now they can always be in that outlet. Drugs is accessible. The game is accessible. All you need is a good internet connection. And now you're sitting here trying to complain about a problem that you caused. Just like a devil, man. He puts out the piece of cheese, and then when the mouse comes and takes it, then he wants to complain about the mouse. Then he wants to complain about the mouse. Or matter of fact, better yet, I'm gonna give a better example. He puts out the piece of cheese, and he puts a chemical in it where now the mouse constantly craves cheese, and he's putting out the cheese now the mouse is becoming obese and fat. And now he turns around and saying that, yeah, this mouse is fat, it's losing its life, it's on diabetes, it's this, and it's all because it can't stop eating cheese. Yeah, but because of you. Because you put that forth. You fucked the mouse up. You're pumping drugs into the food, into the mouse's food, and now he's hooked on it. And now you're gonna turn around and talk about the mouse like you didn't have a hand into it? Just like a devil, man. Just like a fucking devil. You know? That's why you got brothers like the brother Kaya, you know, and me bringing out like listen, we see right through your BS, man. You know? Yeah, is it fucking is it wrong that you got people fucking on the game majority of the fucking time and doing all this gaming and all that? Yes, that's a problem. Yes, to be out of touch with reality and just to indulge in that dopamine, yes, that is a problem. But it goes deeper than that. The deeper is who set that problem up. You did. So how are you going to turn around and blame certain things that you set forth that you deemed okay? You know? It doesn't make no sense. This is Psalms chapter 12 in verse 8. It says the wicked man on every, it says the wicked walketh on every side when the vilest man are exalted, man. And is not Esau the most villainous, vilest man upon the planet Earth right now? You know? So because he's set in great power, because he's set on the top, on the very top, then guess what? Wicked men are going to walk on every side. That means what? You're going to see wickedness portrayed in this world. Because why they don't have a reason to hide themselves. They don't have a reason to be shameful for it. You know? You can get some box. When you tell a woman that, oh yeah, I'm a streamer, I make $100,000 a year playing video games. You know? You'll be looked at as a successful individual in this society. And the only thing you have to do is be saying, oh yeah, I play video games, or oh yeah, I do this, I do that, or I'm a streamer, you know? Like, well, damn, like, it's wild, man. It's absolutely wild, you know? But wickedness like that, and I'm not necessarily calling video games wicked. I mean, you know, if you play them, you play them. You know, like I said, like I started off at the beginning of this video, I'm a gamer. I play video games, you know. You know, I mean, I'm into certain things, you know, certain games that I like to enjoy, but there's a limit that I put on myself, you know. One thing is I don't play video games on the Sabbath or any Sabbath-like day, you know. Or if I'm fasting from certain pleasures, you know, I fast from the video game. You know, I fast from, you know, and it's not just the game, it's other things too that falls into it. But, you know, basically the reason why I'm bringing this scripture out is because there's no shame in that. You know, we live in a world where wickedness is promoted. So if it's deemed, you know, if it's deemed wicked, if it's deemed perverse, if it's deemed like not like weird or vile, then guess what? People are going to do it, and people are going to praise you to do it, you know? So you playing the video games all day and you know, you just living your life, and you just wasting your life away. That's not going to be looked at, nothing that's not going to be looked at as wrong. You know, nobody's going to shame you for that, you know? People are going to uplift that. People are going to talk well about you, you know? What do people say? As long as you're making money from it, it doesn't matter. As long as you're making money from it. People would do anything for some money, you know? I got one more scripture, and I'm going to end it off at this. I didn't want to make this video too long. I just wanted to do a response to the brother's video. This is Isaiah. This is Samuel. Where am I at? Okay, yeah, right here. Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 16. This is Isaiah chapter 29 and verse 16. I'm gonna start from 15. It says, woe unto them that seek deep to hide their counsel from the Lord, and their works are in the darkness, and they say, who seeth us, and who knoweth us? All right. It says, surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. See, so you're the reason why things are topsy turvy. You're the reason why things are called the things that are good are called evil, and things that are evil are called good. You know, because you turn things upside down, because you set the world the way it is. The Lord gave you power over the world, and you moved it as you please. So the reason why things are always topsy turvy, the reason why you got people on drugs, you got people just constantly seeking dopamines. They don't want to, they're not marrying. The reason why you have the world in such distress as it is because of you. Because people are following after your ways, after your laws. You set forth things, so guess what? People are gonna uphold them. You turn things upside down. The Lord had certain laws for things for people to do. You got young men at the age of 13, 14, still living with their parents all the way until for another 5 or 6 years. Where now it's like a known thing that boys don't move out from their parents until they're at least 23, 24. They're grown men. These are grown men living with their parents still. Because what, like the brother also had brought out in his video, they might have the body of an adult, of a young man. They might have the body of adult and the capability of a young man, but mentally they're not there. Because why? You handicapped them. You said they were still a boy at the age of 13 or 14, which really, to be honest, they were a very young and early set man. They should have been learning a trade. They should have been learning something. They should have been learning the life of manlyhood at that point. They should have been learning certain things. But what, you said that they were still a child. They still need to be up under their parents for another 4 to 5 years. And guess what? That's handicapped them for life. So now what? You have no good. I ain't gonna call them no good, but you have lazy, unmotivated individuals still staying with their parents because what? Their parents is gonna take care of them until they get 23, 24, until their parents, so forth. Like, all right, and it's time for you to go out, start your own life. So you put forth all of this for your turning of things upside down. So because of you is the reason why we have the product that we have now. All right. So you have nobody but to blame but yourself. All right. But that's all I had on it. That's my little 2 cents on it. Like I said, like I said before, brothers, please, Bible Shah, check out the video from the brother Kai's page. He did a, beautiful, beautiful video breakdown on it. So Lord willing, I hope this video was edifying. Until next time, I want to say shalom.